Hey, what's up guys? Alan here with EatSleepTrade.net. Gonna bring you guys a watch list for the week February 1st, 2016. As I'm sure all of you are aware that January has not been a great start to the new year as far as the stock market is concerned. Everything's been down and markets have had a really tough time. It's been a sell the breakout versus a buy the breakout, which is the exact opposite what we're trying to do. So most of all of January, just kind of sat on the sidelines, monitored the market, tweeted a little bit here and there about certain setups that I seen, but mentioned definitely more than anything that the market is bearish and don't get crazy. Don't expect the same type of movements and strong breakouts that you would typically expect in a bull market. And it has been a up and down fight, back and forth with the bears and bulls as far as the overall market goes. And Friday actually turned out to be a pretty bullish day and set the market up for a possible nice move to the top side next week, back into some price areas that we haven't seen for since the year started. So we're going to be taking a look at the SPY and as well as a couple other chart setups that we've come across on the scans, and also just going to kind of do a overlook of all the stocks that I've kept on my watch list, which all came from the watch list that I upload. As I've said many times in the past, I don't take stocks off of my watch list until they disprove my idea. So if I'm looking at a chart and expecting it to do something and it does that, then I'm going to keep that stock on watch whether I did or did not get an opportunity to trade it, because stocks that tend to go up will continue to go up after consolidation periods, pullbacks, and can give you multiple buying and profit taking opportunities. As I recently just said, if I get a winning trade on a stock, I'll go back and continue to trade it for as many times as it will give me a good risk reward entry point and set up for a breakout. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the watch list for this week. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to take a look at is obviously going to be the SPY. This is the tail of the tape and what I generally use and watch to guide or gauge market strength. And the support area down here in this 180 area, obviously a very major support area, even all the way back to October of 2014, our August pullback in 2015, and now our great start to the new year. So not looking good. But Friday actually had a really nice day. A lot of buying, more buying than we've seen in since the year started, and the volume was good. The candle closed up towards its high, and also managed to close above its 20-day moving average. So all positive things as far as the SPY is concerned. Long term, no idea what's going to happen here. I mean, nobody knows. What we can do is use these technical areas to kind of just help and guide us through a very difficult and volatile market to trade. Realistically, I would like to see him move back up towards this $200 area. That doesn't mean that this thing's going to go straight up. It could come sideways. It could come back down before it goes back up. It could come back up here and be the next low where you should be selling and eventually break back below this in the next couple of months. Who knows? But right now, as far as Friday goes, we've put a nice bottom in at a prior support area that's held up. And Friday we had a great, strong, good relative volume day with buying and the candle closing near its high. I think it sets us up for some nice movement into next week. How long is that movement going to last? Well, we don't know, but I will surely have my eyes on it and keep you guys updated as much as possible. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at some stocks. First one I want to take a look at is ABY. So you can see here, this one's been trending down for quite some time. You've actually got a sort of inverted head and shoulder pattern down here at the bottom. The thing that caught my eye with this chart was the big relative volumes. That's what got it on the scanner. Huge range on this day, guys. You're talking a low of 1460 to a high of 1850. $4 worth of range on a single day. Probably a little bit too volatile for me and a little bit tough to trade, but with that much buying coming in, and now that we're kind of getting above this uptrend area, if we start making a move back towards 1920, 1950 and get above these prior highs, that could show a change of trend, and we could start trending up on this. So like the volume, not too promising, but like I said, if we get back above these prior highs, it could really start to look interesting. Next up on the list is CC, and a fairly recent IPO, not too recent. It's about maybe 8 or 9 months old, and you could see the nice, huge relative volume that came in on Friday. Nice strong candle that closed near its top, testing its 20-day moving average now. And I'm just going to be looking for a continuation move into this, possibly move up to its 50-day, which is at 5 right now, giving us about $1 worth of range. Who knows, maybe we get a little breakout flag set up and another breakout continuation on that. But really like the volume that came in. So this will definitely remain on watch through next week for any type of momentum or push above these prior highs here, 412, 417, and we closed Friday at 394. So testing that $4 resistance area right now through $4 could give us a push up towards 5. Next up on the list is CENX. Same thing again, coming off a bottom here after it's been trending down for some time. Getting some nice relative volume coming in now. Like a move above this 480, 490 area and a $5 breakout, and possibly see a $650 or $7 move. If we get that, might need a pullback before we break above this resistance area. So would not mind a pullback and consolidation here, maybe down to your moving averages 50 and 20, and then a breakout continuation on that. Next up on the list, let's take a look at FINL. One we've had on watch before. Here, right before they released earnings, we're looking for some type of flag breakout on this. Didn't happen. This 1894, 1895, $19 area, major resistance, stock gap down, has since climbed its way back up to that $19 area, and our average moving averages, our 20s now above our 50. So watch that into next week. See if we get a move above this $19 area, and that could set us up for a decent breakout. Next up on the list, let's look at NSR. Huge relative volume on Thursday, and just a nice little consolidation small range candle on Friday, which I like. That shows all the buyers that came in on Thursday didn't exit the trade on Friday, which is a common occurrence. You get a big spike and then immediately comes back down. So this is going to set up for a little flag right here, and I'm going to be looking for any type of continuation move over Friday's high, which is around $24.98. So if we get that $25 break, definitely possible for a momentum move back up towards 26, 27. So keep that one on watch definitely, and as we start to get a little flag set up here. Now let's take a look at some stocks that we've had on our watch list for quite a while that have performed well for us. One is ABCD. It's been trending up for a long time, that's why I've still got it on watch. You can see the different areas that I've been watching. Caught support here around 4, now in that 450 area. Through that 450 area could lead us back up towards 5, and that's kind of what I'm watching on this. Will I trade it? I don't know. It's not one that I've been able to trade too much, even though it has been trending up nicely. Sometimes stocks give you great signals and opportunities that are trending up, and sometimes they just sort of grind higher and never really give you that entry that you're looking for. But nevertheless, keep it on my watch list, until it starts trending down and looks like something I wouldn't want to buy if an opportunity did arise. NUTR, as you guys can see, most of these charts are pretty beat up. We played the ascending breakout on this one, over 25 twice, worked out both times, which is really nice. You can see how beat up it is and pulled back now, just testing that 20-day moving average like a lot of stocks are. Probably won't really be interested in something like this, maybe unless we get another 25 breakout coming up here, pull back, get that breakout, and that would be a buying opportunity that maybe I'd want to be a part of. SWHC gun stocks, Smith & Wesson, great trade we had on this. Huge breakout over that $20 area, and just ripped all the way up to 23, 24, pulled back, and then ripped again all the way to 26. So awesome opportunity that this one gave. Back down now below both of our moving averages, actually just above our 50-day moving average now, coming up to test the 20-day moving average, and still pretty bullish on this stock. Love the way it came down, tested this prior resistance area as support, plenty of buyers to step in and hold that chart up. Now with the market turning around as well, I think we could definitely see this thing easily move back towards 23, 24, and maybe even see a move back towards 25 and 26. OCLR, this one's kind of been in pain. Was looking for a cup and handle breakout on this. I bought on this day, got stopped out. I bought on this day here, ended up really nice, ended up getting stopped out again. Just never really got that larger breakout move that I was looking for, which would be towards that $4 area. But even through the market turmoil and how everything's just been getting completely beat up, this thing's still holding up in this 350, 345 to 360 area. So I'm going to keep it on watch, and if we start getting a break and volume pushing above these prior highs, then that could set us up for another move. Next, let's look at KANG. Another stock, we put this one on our watch list here right as we were coming down to test that 20-day moving average. And in our last video I mentioned, hey, we want to see a bottom on this and then a move back up towards 2150, which was these prior highs, which is exactly what we got. And then some actually came up to 2250, so pretty decent range on there. Set up a nice cup and handle, which is what we were really looking for. And then of course the markets kind of did their thing to everything and pulled everything down. I'm still bullish on the stock. Again, like I said, it's down because the entire market was down and everything was getting pulled down. Managed to hold up on our 50-day moving average, nice bottom candle there, and keep this one on watch, see if we start getting moved back towards that 2250 area, and maybe we get that breakout to new 52-week highs and a trend continuation. ORBK. Another one here that was setting up for a cup and handle type setup, and pulled back and beat up pretty good now. Our moving averages are just attempting to, the 20s just attempting to cross below the 50. Looks like we could get some rebounding here and possibly a move back towards 21 and eventually maybe back towards that 2250 area, and also get a 52-week high breakout that we were looking for before the entire market took a digger on us. And so still possible to see something like that, so always leave it on watch. Even though I haven't taken a trade in it, if an opportunity arises in a stock that's trending up and is bullish, I'll be more than happy to take something. IRDM, we were trading this little wedge setup right here, and as you can see, it did work out pretty good. We had a nice breakout, pulled back, and then reached back up towards that 9 area, and then same thing, beat up with the markets. Less interested in this one than I am in most others, even though we did get a good trade in it. But now that it's beat up, it's going to have to do some work and maybe give me some other type of setup before I'm really interested in it. But I will keep it on watch just because I did get a good trade on it. Let's take a look at IMOS. Kind of the same concept here. We were looking for the breakout on these prior resistance areas, where right here around 20 bucks, got the breakout for the day, consolidated, and then came back down with everything as well. So same thing, this one's going to need a little bit of time, consolidate. Big relative volume on Friday, You can see all the wicks on the bottom of these candles. So there's definitely people stepping in and absorbing this $16, $17 area, and hopefully going to see that help push this thing back up towards that $20 area. See that breakout, maybe get an opportunity to trade that again. Next, let's look at LPTH. This one's just been awesome. This was first added to our watch list on a flag breakout here. Worked out really nice, had huge range and a lot of volume to push this thing up. And as the market started to bring back down, this thing actually held up pretty well, considering the circumstances. Held on to its 20-day moving average almost all the way up until last week, where it finally took it out and came down to that 50-day. Even tweeted out on Thursday about the 50-day. Good opportunity to take a trade here with a minimal risk reward as we hold that 50-day. And sure enough, the next day, huge breakout, big volume, and an awesome push off that 50-day moving average. So hopefully somebody was able to get a piece of that one as well, because that worked out quite nice. And I'm looking for a continuation move into next week, hopefully back up to these prior highs, or at least up to this 320, 340 area before we can make some new highs. Let's see, RMBS. This one was on our most recent watch list, and was looking for a breakout of these prior highs right here. As you can see, it attempted and kind of tried to do that, and not a whole lot's happened right now. I'll keep it on watch. The relative volume is pretty good. I think that's what brought it up on our scanner. Was this relative volume kind of just consolidated last week, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. Nothing really looking too interesting on that one quite yet. Have this huge gap down, so it's something that we can work towards, maybe that gap fill back up here around 14 if we get a decent setup. Maybe if we get above here, hold this area support, that'll kind of give us a place where we can set a risk with a proper entry and anticipate a move up to that 14 area. Next up, let's look at BXS. BXS, we were just looking for a potential bottom bounce on this one because it was way oversold, and most of the times when this thing gets oversold, it does make a pretty decent move higher. Tough one to trade, as any type of bottom bounce is not really a play I like to do. But when the markets don't give you a whole bunch of stuff to work with, sometimes the overbought bottom bounce is where you got to go to try to get something. And this one actually worked out pretty well. Didn't trade it, but it did have a pretty decent range from a low of around 1950 up to 2080. So $1 worth of range in there if you were able to get some type of bounce play on that. Next is AMD. Same type of setup. Was looking for a bottom bounce play on AMD, and the first attempt was actually right here on this day, right when the market started coming down. Everybody was freaking out, and 2 bottom days came holding up on its 20-day moving average. Plenty of buyers. To me, it was an opportunity to try to get a trade in right there with a minimal risk reward. Ended up being stopped out just below, or right around 260, and I mean, the stock was murdered after that. So perfect example of an opportunity that arose that could have worked out good, positive risk reward, but didn't. And had I not respected my stop right there, it could have been a lot more painful to me. So that was a losing trade for me right there on AMD. And now I'm currently long on AMD again. Just about 214, I think, is my average price right now. So hoping to see a nice move over this 20-day moving average towards our 50-day. My target price is around 240 right now to take half off. So hopefully we'll see that next week. I'm currently long in this one right now. Like I said, already had 1 loss in it, trying to make up for that. So if it works out, that'll be nice. Let's take a look at, let's see, and actually I think that might be the last one. Let's look at DOC real quick. This one's actually been trending pretty nicely. It has an inverted head and shoulder setup. This would be your head down at the bottom here, a shoulder, and a shoulder. So this would be your neckline, where I've got this drawn right around 1630 area. Nice breakout here. Then the market pulled it all back, but plenty of buyers on this one and immediately snapped it right back up to this prior high. So I like the setup here. It's actually got a little flag setting up, a move above this 1730 area or above the prior high here, which is around 1726. Could set us up for a move back towards 18, and of course a move through 18 sets us up for a 52-week high breakout. This is trending up right now. We're putting in higher lows after this consolidation and pullback period, so pretty decent looking chart. Big relative volume on Friday, and I'm looking, like I said, for a push above the 1730, 1720 area, and a move towards 18. Let's see. Let's take a look at NPTN. Another one again, cup and handle setup. As you can see, started to work out actually pretty well at this 1130 area, and market came down, pulled it all back. Now consolidated, found its bottom, and actually had a pretty decent day on Friday. Still has a little bit of work to do before it looks interesting to me. I'd like to actually see this thing move up, consolidate, pull back, maybe flag set up, and get the next breakout towards that 1130 area. NEO. Another one we've had on the watch list for quite some time. Initially was watching this consolidation period, gapped up, nice breakout. A tradable opportunity, but at the same time hard to trade something like this and not chase it at the same time. Never want to chase anything. You always want to buy at the low, not the high. So sometimes buying the breakout doesn't always work. If you're a day trader, then it worked on this great opportunity, but as a swing, it's kind of tough to see a gap, look at a stock, and if you're buying anywhere halfway up through the day, makes it kind of tough to get a good risk reward when you have to risk all the way down to this prior low. Anyhow, with that being said, this 830 area is definitely going to be our resistance area that we need to break for this thing to start looking a little bit interesting. We've got a support area down here between 640 and 680s. That's holding up right now, so we're kind of trading in this channel between that 680 area and 690. So if we get that move or break above 7 and start getting above our 20-day moving average, that could possibly set us up for a move back towards 823, and that could possibly be a trade that we take and anticipating a move towards 823 and then maybe even the 52-week high breakout if we get through that 823 area. So if this support area continues to hold up, which it has so far, the stock is bullish, it is trending up, and that could give us an opportunity above 7 to get something. Let's take a look at TRIL. We put this on a while back and just recently had a big relative volume spike. But either way, to me, the chart's trending down. Not something, doesn't really look bullish to me yet. Actually coming back down to these prior highs, or prior lows, right where we started before the big move up towards 30. So for me, first things first, we got to break this trend. Once we break that trend, let's establish some resistance, pull back, break that resistance, and get a change of trend, any reversal. Either way, good volume that came in about a week or two ago. And I'll keep this on watch this 578 area. If we break below that, you can definitely see a pretty big move probably to the bottom side on this one, possible short opportunity area if we do get to that point before we break above this trend. Let's look at SA. Gold stock had a pretty good idea on this one right before the market took its crash, and that was the breakout here. We had it first was a move towards 950, which we got actually on Tuesday after we put the stock on watch, and then after that was a test towards or actually was a break first towards 9 and then a move towards 950. Ended up getting both of those, and so that worked out pretty well. Now it's sold off quite a bit as everything pushed with the market, and probably not really too interested in this chart anymore unless something major happens and something sets up there. ACHN was a nice bullish looking chart here, and was anticipating a nice breakout above this $11 area, and exact opposite happened. Market sucked, pulled it back, and a lot of selling occurred. So not really interested in this one anymore, again, unless something changes. Let's see. Let's take a look at FXCM. This one's had a ton of relative volume, huge spikes. I mean, a move from starting back here around 530 and the high going all the way to 25, almost just below 25. So insane range on this one, and now just been consolidating. And even on these little days like this, the range is huge. You're looking at a low of 11, a high of 13, so you're getting $2 worth of range on a stock in one day. So pretty awesome. Gonna need to see some type of trend change here before this really gets interesting. Get back above our 20-day moving average. We're holding our 50-day moving average, which is a good sign right now. But I'm pretty sure that this move was unwarranted, and even one of the CEOs said he was unsure of why the stock went from 6 up to 25. But either way, it's really not up to him the way the stock moves. It's up to us and the people who are buying it. So keep it on watch because it's had great range, had a good flag set up, huge breakout. So that's why I got that one on watch. Big relative volume in it, and doesn't hurt to have it on your watch list and doesn't cost you nothing. AFFX. Had this one on watch here for a head and shoulder type breakout, being this would be our head, shoulder, shoulder, and kind of started to give us something, broke back down below. Very difficult to be in a trade for the big gap. You didn't hear me talk about this big gap because the reality was if you were in this trade and it gapped up, you got really lucky and not really an anticipated trade. I'm not really interested in it now, even though it's surprisingly holding up really well. Nobody wants to sell the stock, even with the market the way it was, with the anticipation of, I believe this was some type of buyout news. Either way, give me some more relative volume. Maybe a breakout of these prior highs could actually set us up for a move. But if anything, I think it deserves a little bit of a pullback before it's going to make another move higher. AGRO, one of our favorite stocks to trade. It's been super strong for us. First added it onto our watch list right here. Worked out very well. Second time we traded it was on a resistance breakout above 1150. Worked out very well again. 3-day hold. And now it's kind of consolidated and pulled back a little bit, fell below its 20 and 50 moving averages, which it has been trending above for quite some time. But again, one of my favorite stocks to trade, especially when the markets are weak, and it looks like we have put in a bottom here, and on Friday we actually pushed back above our 50 and 20-day moving averages, so holding this support area now around 1150, and look for that move back towards 1250. Let's take a look at NFX. NFX is one of my favorite oil plays, oil stocks, I guess, to trade. No particular reason except for the fact that I've traded it before, traded it successfully, and it works for me. I don't know why, it just does, so that's why I like it, so I keep doing it. And had a huge ramp towards the last 2 weeks, from a low down of 22 all the way up towards 29, so you're talking almost $8 worth of range over the last 2 weeks. Maybe some type of pullback consolidation and a move higher again as we just breached above our 20-day moving average. Wouldn't want to be chasing this higher, even though it could go higher and higher and higher, yes, but it's just not a good risk reward for me. Where do you place your stop? You got to break down the chart, figure out, okay, where are support areas that can tell me something's wrong if they're broken. So I'll wait for some type of consolidation or a pullback before I try to buy something like this. Alright guys, I think that is the longest watch list video I've ever made, and I've pretty much just touched base on every single stock that is on my swing trading watch list prior to 2016, and the new ones that we just talked about in the beginning for this prior week, or this next week coming up. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future videos. Also check out our website, eatsleeptrade.net. From there you can follow us on Twitter as well as like our Facebook page so you can stay up to date on all the stocks that we are watching and trading. Good luck to everybody next week. I hope we see a little bit of a bull market and see some continuation strength into next week, giving us some opportunities. If you guys got any questions, again, feel free to let me know. Good luck, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.